All right, moving right along to Forever Ambergris. This episode has Robert Daldry from The Who in it, which is pretty cool. Yeah, he acted a decent amount, so he's got himself a pretty good acting career in addition to being such a famous musician. And then Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi was such a big deal to me when I was a kid in the 90s. Like, when he made Trees Lounge, which was his directorial debut, and then like The Animal Factory. Like, I followed his directing career as well as his acting career because I was so big into him. I just thought he was fantastic in so many roles. But so anytime I see him, it just kind of brings me back to when I was really into him, like Mr. Shh from the Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead and all. Like, I followed his career very intimately as a young kid. He was one of my favorites with like John C. Reilly and a few other people. A lot of people that made like William H. Macy and certain people, like a lot of alums from Paul Thomas Anderson's early works. I was big on. But anyways, okay, so so this is just like one of those aging freaking artists that has lost his touch and wants to get it back, but he doesn't. And then there's this young rising star who worships the ground that guy walks on and has all the talent that he once had. And he goes over to his house and he finds out he has this gorgeous wife and he's super jealous and he just wants his life. Like, he's like, I used to have this life and I want it back, and I'm going to steal it from you, even though you've been nothing but respectful to me. Although he does call him out someplace in this for being like, you know, you play that aw shucks shit too well. I don't think that's it. I don't think that Steve Buscemi's character in this has any ill intent towards him. I don't think he's trying to steal his thunder from under him, that he's trying to like hamstring him along. Like, there's no reason for it. Like, he doesn't need him. He's already gotten enough headway. Like, he's already popular enough on his own. He's already had enough eyes on him at the paper and whatever magazines and Time and all that stuff, that he doesn't need to be out with this guy. I think he just wants to be out with him because he fucking worships him. He thinks he's, you know, the premier photographer. He knows like all of his works. Kind of how I would be with like John Carpenter or something. If I was going to be a director, I would just be like, oh my God, you made The Thing. And that's basically where John Carpenter would be at. I mean, I don't know if he would be admitting to that, but with like The Ward and Ghost of Mars and stuff like that, like his career, like he just doesn't have it anymore. Like, artists only have so much to give. That's why Quentin Tarantino only wants to make 10 films. He feels like he doesn't want to have a Carpenter thing where he's just like was amazing and couldn't miss, and then just like in the later half of his career, he's kind of just been embarrassing himself a little bit. Of course, some people will be like, I like The Ward, and I like it, and that's fantastic, good for you, but most of us don't. So yeah, anyways, I'm not here to talk about that, but just to kind of, you know, put it into a little bit of context there in the way I see it. God, his wife is hot though. I totally understands why he understands. What the hell? Understand why he's jealous. He goes and he spies on them fucking. That's pretty creepy shit. And then she comes out and he's like trying to hit on her and she's just like, dude, I love my husband. Like, I don't know what the hell you think, but that ain't happening. We get Schneider here. I always call him Schneider from Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Coach Schneider, love that. We got the dude who plays Bosk on Amazon. He's been in every damn thing. You've seen him in a million things. The chick, the wife, the hot chick, that's the freaking chick from Kroll. Anyone remember Kroll? That damn sword and sorcery movie? I actually enjoyed that movie. So I saw her, I looked it up and I was like, that's the chick from Kroll? How cool. And then, yeah, so he convinces him to go out into this area where he knows like there's all sorts of radiation and all sorts of crazy shit, and he knows he's gonna get sick and die so he can take over his life. And he sends him out there, and when he comes back, he thinks he's fine. He has all these amazing pictures that he caught, and then he just starts fucking dying of this awful illness. Whatever the hell that is he has is just horrendous. He like comes and he vomits up all this weird shit, and then like his fucking eye pops out of his face. And then later he comes out and he's just like so mangled he can't even barely like walk, and he like tries to point at Dalton, I think is his name. Yeah, Dalton, right? From like Roadhouse. He points at him and his fucking finger falls off and then he gets shot to death. Jesus, he has a horrible death. But I just love, because earlier in the episode his wife says like to him, because he asks the wife like, what would you do if your husband died? And she's like, well, I'd die too. Like, I don't want to live without him. I'm crazy about him. And she absolutely lives up to that later on. Like, she finds out her husband was killed, and her plan is like she could have just poisoned him and been done with it. But she doesn't want to live without her husband. So she kills herself too. She didn't have to do that, but she's just like, nope, like I'm going down with this. And she literally fucks this guy to death. Like, I mean, you think that's the best way to go, but not like this. This is not the way you want to be fucked to death. Oh my God. Like, she's on top of him and all this shit's coming out of her back, and then she starts vomiting blood on him, and like she's falling apart, and then he goes off and he runs and his nose falls off in the mirror, kind of mirroring that story that's being told earlier in the episode. Just what a fantastic ending. This freaking ending is so wonderfully disgusting. The way that these people die in the episode is gross, and I adore it. So, yeah, really fun episodes. I just watched 3 in a row, and I really enjoyed all of them. So season 5 is off to a really promising start. Hopefully we can retain that. So anyway, all right.